Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm down here below Fort Worth, Texas, at a wildlife preserve called Fossil Rim, which protects and breeds endangered species. I just visited the information center and was given this little leaflet that lets me know which of the species exist here at Fossil Rim. And there's about 30 species of either threatened or endangered animals here, many of them large animals: wolves, bison, giraffe, cheetah, zebra. So, I mean, these folks are doing really good work. Otherwise, a lot of these creatures would just cease to exist today. So, kudos to Fossil Rim. What a wonderful place. 1,800 acres of hill country here in North Texas. And yeah, very much looking forward to taking a nice tour of the place, seeing a lot of these animals out in a very pristine environment where they're roaming free, doing what they do. Unlike zoo visits where animals are caged, the experience here is more like a safari. Specially outfitted vehicles with open sides and bench seats allow visitors a much more interactive experience with the animals. There's a 7-mile loop road that weaves through several defined sectors of the park, and for obvious reasons, top predators like cheetahs and wolves have their own generous penned-in areas separate from contact with other animals. Rhinos too have their own steel-fenced paddocks, primarily for human safety, and often share these fields with other free-ranging herbivores like antelope. Some species, such as the scimitar horned oryx, are extinct in the wild, and today are only found in zoos and conservation and preservation facilities like Fossil Rim. Because of the many great successes in their breeding program, Fossil Rim is one of the more active donors to zoos throughout the country and is involved with reintroduction programs all over the world. Visiting Fossil Rim is an amazing experience, and I highly recommend the behind-the-scenes tour, simply for the access and exposure to especially sensitive species in the collection that are otherwise off limits to the standard tours. And a visit to Fossil Rim would not be complete without spending up-close time with the giraffes. These graceful giants are not only beautiful creatures, but also have a very gentle, non-aggressive disposition in this setting. So make Fossil Rim a destination for your next upcoming visit to the big state of Texas. After completing the fascinating tour of Fossil Rim Wildlife Conservation Park, it was over to High Hope Ranch, where I would spend the next 3 days as a guest of Christina, who has made both Fossil Rim and High Hope the focus of a good majority of her life's work. And I must say, this is a special place with especially good, positive energy. Let's take a closer look, tour the facility, and hear more directly from the people who collectively make this place a success. So I'm with Christina here at High Hope, and she's going to tell us a little bit more about the history of the place and her connection with Fossil Rim. Over to you, Christina.
Thank you. What brought me and my partner, Jim Jackson, to these lands was Fossil Rim Wildlife Center. We had asked ourselves a question in 1983, what can two untrained people do on behalf of nature and wildlife in a hands-on way? High Hope were lands next to Fossil Rim that we acquired over time as a way to protect Fossil Rim from development. And in these last 35 years, a place that was remote has turned into more residential development. And so that idea is prophetic. And High Hope became her own place when Fossil Rim became protected as a land base in perpetuity. Our ideal was to really move land from being a commodity and transacted as an asset to be protected for herself and her innate beauty and her innate resources, which includes plants, animals, minerals, the air, the water. And so now High Hope is protected in that way, which includes a land acknowledgement for the First Peoples. And so High Hope has deep relations with members of the Native American Church of Oklahoma, that is part of the Comanche people. Mm-hmm. And so for us, the Conservancy of High Hope had to include a deepening relations with the Comanche people.
Can you give us a little bit of the backstory to Fossil Rim and your time there? I know you've spent a lot of time working with Fossil Rim and developing it to its present status.
We started becoming involved with Fossil Rim in 1986. It was a small wildlife ranch that really took steps to make connections with the professional community and offer private conservation efforts on behalf of population health and well-being. When we arrived, there were maybe 400 animals here, various species, including the Grevy zebra, which is a herd animal and needs space. And so we created relationships with universities, with other professional organizations. And so Fossil Rim grew through her own momentum, so to speak. Fossil Rim is the total combination of many, many people. Jim and I were, in a sense, the generalists. As a background in film production, I can organize and put projects together. I am grateful to the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of individuals who have made and are making Fossil Rim be the place that she is today. Involved in international projects, involved in reintroduction programs when that is possible, involved in a sense, creating an insurance policy for species in peril. When I used to give tours, I used to say that the ultimate mission of Fossil Rim was to go extinct. Fossil Rim is protected, also the land in perpetuity. If not a fossil rim, if not a wildlife preserve, Fossil Rim is a green space for educational purposes. High Hope, on the other hand, is also protected as a green space in a mixed use way to develop biodynamic and organic agriculture, balanced economy that serves everyone, not at the profit or expense of another. Our commitment, our devotion has been to open ourselves up to the intricacies of relationships that makes life and well-being for all living beings.
Thanks to Christina for that insightful introduction to High Hope Ranch. Earlier that day, I spent several hours hiking the numerous trails that weave throughout the 900-acre property, which includes its very own stone circle. Right now I'm sitting at the stone circle here on High Hope Ranch, and it's a delightful place, a bit of a retreat here. You can rent cabins and stay for a few days. The trails, there's about 15 kilometers of trails here you can access. You got the place to yourself, it's quiet, it's a place to reflect and enjoy the beauty that surrounds you. As the sun was setting, Christina and I, accompanied by Harper the goat, walked to some of the special vantage points around the property.
You can do it. This is the star pad that replaced the yurt that was taken away by a tornado.
Oh my goodness.
And
when was this?
2008.
2008.
And nature told us this is not a place to have a building.
Right, right.
The air needs to move through. So we followed nature's guidance.
How beautiful. And what a view. Let's take a closer look.
We've had yoga classes, picnics, weddings, music concerts with everybody sitting on blankets on the grass.
And look at that view. Simply stunning. This is High Hope, folks. A lively cast of characters make up High Hope Farm, a self-sustaining operation run by Brandy and her husband Robert.
We have lots of things planted and lots of plans for this area. We started by tilling it all up, and then we added a cover crop of radishes and turnips and some other little things, hairy veg, things like that. And so that grew over the winter, and then now we're planting in it in the spring. We've got a lot of cut flowers here up front. We've got tomatoes, peppers, tomatillos. In the back we've got rows of onions and lettuce and all types of things. So, and then further back beyond that is the hoop house. We're planning on finishing this week or the next, and that'll be where we grow more tomatoes.
So it looks like we have some oils, some hot sauces, some tinctures perhaps.
Yeah.
Some candles. And do you make everything here, or?
Not everything.
Some of the things have come from other local consignees.
There's a local woman who makes some chocolate, and so that's been fun to partner with her. This is goat milk soap from a lady in town. What else? These coffees are brewed by a local roaster. That's actually pretty cool. And then this olive oil, and we have jalapeno olive oil and prickly pear balsamic. That's from a company out of, is it Fredericksburg? It's the hill country, so not far from here.
Okay.
And then, yeah, I make tinctures, teas, scrubs, pickles, things like that.
There we go, mother and baby. Early spring day here in Texas. Toward the end of March. Temperatures are in the low 70s. Everything is green and budding, vibrant and colorful. The bluebonnets are in full bloom, so glad to have had a chance to see those. The trails out here on High Hope Ranch are simply beautiful. So many places that weave through the woods, and then you enter open expanses of meadow and grassland. There's cactus, plenty of juniper. That seems to be the predominant tree on these kind of high plains. And delightful place, absolutely delightful. And you know, along the way you come across these little details that have been placed here for your enjoyment, to give you the opportunity to kick back for a minute, relax, and take in the scenery. Next, it's over to Big Bend National Park.